in order to deal with the backlog which the department has. For years, the Department of Citizenship and Immigration has been struggling to keep up with the number of applications submitted from people who want to come to Canada. However, it would be worthwhile to take a historical look at this department over the last 2 decades. It has always been with difficulties. However, in the last 2 years, it has totally become dysfunctional. Conservative minister after conservative minister has tried to resolve the problems they're facing. They're finding themselves in more trouble. I'm not going to say that under the Liberals the department was perfect. It had its challenges. However, in the last 2 years, the department has become the challenge. The mockery of the department under the Conservatives continues even today. A few months ago, I asked under the access to information about the real figures and inventories and waiting times since the Conservatives took power. The real nightmare was then exposed. The Conservative government assured parliamentarians that processing times would decrease. Instead of seeing an overall decrease in processing timelines, what I discovered was an overall increase. For the first year under the Conservatives in 2006, the processing timelines increased by 20.79%. For 2007, the processing timelines increased overall by 7.62%, while the numbers of immigrants allowed to Canada dropped from 262,236 in 2005 to 236,689 in 2007, a difference of 25,547 people. That's a decrease of 10%. And the minister stated in the House yesterday, and I quote, "Mr. Speaker, we're working for families. We've already improved processing times for families reunification by up to 40%. Mr. Speaker, we want to get families reunited." Who is she kidding? Let's look at the real horror stories. From figures on the department's website for 2007, I concluded increased processing timelines in the following categories and posts. Skilled workers, Cairo, increase 34%. Beijing, increased 25%. Sydney, Australia, increased 64%. Paris, increased 33%. Port of Spain, up 46%. Port-au-Prince, up 77%. Spouses and partners, Pretoria, up 85%. Kuala Lumpur, up 300%. New Delhi, an increase of 100% for spouses and partners. Buenos Aires, up 22%. Caracas, up 22%. San Diego, up 28%. Dependent children, Cairo, 71.42%. Pretoria, 77%. Beijing, 66%. New Delhi, 33.33%. Kiev, 116%. Parents and grandparents, Berlin, up 65%. Buenos Aires, up 142%. Caracas, up 54%. Guatemala, up 52%. Port-au-Prince, up 96%. Finally, the minister had a revelation, and holding true to her reform roots, she brought us a nightmare, Bill C-50, and wanting to have a quick passage of the legislation, placed it in the budget and called it a motion of confidence. The amendments, as proposed in this piece of legislation, Bill C-50, essentially give the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration carte blanche to decide which application to process, which to hold, and which to return without even processing. Particular immigration categories will be adversely affected, such as family class and permanent resident status, made on humanitarian and compassionate grounds, H&C grounds. This bill should be debated specifically in the Standing Committee on Citizenship and Immigration and not the Committee of Finance, as the Conservatives want. Both the Minister of Citizenship and Immigration and the Minister responsible for CBSA should be invited to give evidence. Also, community groups, stakeholders, lawyers, immigration practitioners, and others should have an opportunity to testify and give evidence on whether they would be in favor and or against this ill-thought-out piece of legislation. The Parliamentary Secretary, yesterday feeling embarrassed, also put forward a motion that this legislation be brought to the Citizenship and Immigration Committee. However, he placed a timeline in this motion for finalization on May the 7th, 2008. Ladies and gentlemen, the committee this week and next week is traveling right across the country. We're going back to the House of Commons on April the 28th, which means that we will have 2 weeks, a total of 2 weeks to debate this issue. 2 weeks means Monday and Tuesday, the first week, Monday and Wednesday, the second week, a total of 8 hours. That's a shambles. For Bill C-50 to be given 8 hours of debate in the committee is totally shameful. However, I do want to quote the Prime Minister Stephen Harper a few years ago when he stated, "You have to remember that west of Winnipeg, the ridings the Liberals hold are dominated by people who are either recent Asian immigrants or recent migrants from Eastern Canada, people who live in ghettos and who are not integrated into Western Canadian society. The Canadian people simply do not trust the Conservatives to deliver on immigration, and frankly speaking, neither do I." Thank you.